Today we are correcting our study guides and studying for our test for Standard 7241A. I can write equations using variables and rational numbers, and 7241B, I can solve for a variable using the properties of equality. For problem 1A, this is the level 1 question, which of the following represents the expression a number minus 9? Sometimes I like to think about it putting something in place of a number. So what if someone said, what is 15 minus 9? You would think about that as 15 minus 9. So this problem isn't asking just for the number 15, they're asking for any number minus 9. So that would be n minus 9. So the correct answer would be A. For 1B, which of the following represents the expression a number plus 3? So if somebody said, oh, hey, what's 5 plus 3? I would write 5 plus 3. But instead of knowing that my number is 5, I just know it's any number n plus 3. So the correct answer for this one is C, n plus 3. If you have any questions about this problem, you can refer back to lesson 1-2 notes to get some extra help. For number 2, write the following word phrases as equations. Letter A, 6 less than a number k equals 11. So I want to know what 6 less than k is. When I see less than, that tells me we're going to do subtraction. So we are going to subtract from k. So k minus 6 equals 11. For letter B, the quotient of a number h and 4 equals 2. When I hear this word quotient, that tells me we're going to use division. So I know we're going to divide h divided by 4 equals 2. Or if you wanted to write it this way, you could write it as h divided by 4 equals 2. For letter C, the product of s and 5 equals 20. So product is a multiplication word, so I know I'm going to multiply s by 5, and then it's going to equal 20. So I need to multiply 5 times s. Remember, when you write a number and the variable next to each other, it means that you need to multiply it, or you could be more clear and write it as 5 times s equals 20, or you could write it as 5 times s equals 20. For number 3A, Miss Halcomb has 15 apples. 7 of them are red apples. The rest are green apples. Write an equation that can be used to find the number of green apples. So I know that there's 15 total, so I'm going to write my 15 down. And I know that it equals my red plus my green. So I have 7 red apples, so I'm going to do 7 plus, and I'm going to do a G to represent my green apples. You might also want to write it with the variable on the left side because you were a little more used to seeing it that way. So you could have it written as 7 plus G equals 15. For letter B, to post an internet website, Davida must pay $250 to set it up and then a monthly fee of $15 a month. She has $840 in savings. Write an equation that can be used to show how many months she can sustain her website. So first, to set it up, it looks like she's going to have to pay that $250 to start with. Plus, on top of that, she's going to have to pay $15 per month. So in addition to this, we're going to add them together. $15 per month. So if it was 1 month, she'd do $250 plus 15 times 1. Or if it was 5 months, she'd do $250 plus 15 times 5. We want to actually know how many months she could do this for, because we know she has $840. So we're actually going to set it up equal to $840. So then if we were to solve for m here, we would actually figure out how many months she could have this website running for. Number 4 is the level 4 question. Mr. Eisbrand eats 4/5 of a yogurt every day. How many days will it take him to eat 4 yogurts? So part A says write an equation to represent the situation. So we could use the equation 4/5 days equals 8, because he eats 4/5 a day, and we want to know how many days it takes him to eat 8. And then if you actually solve it, you solve it and you find out that D equals 10. So it would take him 10 days. So now we're going to flip over to the back side of our study guide. So we have the standard 7241B. I can solve for a variable using the properties of equality. For number 5, which is the level 1 question for this topic, we have evaluate 5k plus 3 for k equals 7. Show your work. So when we see a variable and a number next to each other like that, that tells us to multiply. So 5 next to k tells us 5 times k. So we have 5 times k plus 3. Then we're going to substitute 7 in for k. So I'm going to rewrite it with 7 substituted in for k. So now we have 5 times 7 plus 3. So using my order of operations, looking at gems, I don't have any groups here. I don't have any exponents here. But I do have multiplication that I need to do. So I'm going to do this multiplication. 5 times 7 is 35. Plus 3, and then all I have left is my addition. 35 plus 3 is 38. So the answer is letter B. For number 6, the level 2 question for this topic, we have which value of m is the solution for the equation 75 equals m plus 19. So we have 75 equals m plus 19. So I'm going to draw my line here to show the two equal sides. So now we have to see what's being done to our variable. M has 19 being added to it. So I'm going to undo what's happening to the variable. I'm going to use the inverse operation. So the inverse operation to adding 19 is subtracting 19. So I'm going to use my subtraction property of equality to subtract 19 from each side. Negative 19 and positive 19 will cancel. So on this side I will just have m. Then over here I need to do 75 minus 19, which gives me 56. So 56 equals m is what I get. Before I circle my answer, I'm thinking I want to circle letter C. But first, I'm going to actually plug m equals 56 in. I'm going to substitute that in for m in my original equation and do 75 equals 56 plus 19. I'm going to grab my calculator and check that 56 plus 19 does indeed equal 75. So now I know for sure my answer is C. All right, we're on to number 7, the level 3 question for this topic. Solve each of the following equations for the given variable. I'm going to slide this up so we have a little more room. So for letter A, we have 4f equals 24. So when I see 4f, that tells me that we're multiplying our variable f by 4. So we need to do the inverse operation of multiplication. We need to undo that multiplication, which means we need to divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 will cancel out and just give me 1f. So now we have f equals 24 divided by 4 is 6. So we got f equals 6. Now I'm pretty confident this is my answer, but before I officially leave it as my answer, I'm going to plug it in. So I'm going to try 4 times 6 equals 24. I'm going to check that on my calculator. And yep, 4 times 6 does equal 24. Good. All right, for letter B, we have r divided by 8 equals 9. So I want to think about what's happening to my variable r here. It's being divided by 8. So I want to undo what's being done. I want to do the inverse operation. So I know that in order to undo division, we need to multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. All right, so when we do the multiplication and division on the same side, they're going to cancel out and just give us 1r, so that's just r equals, and 9 times 8 is 72. So I'm pretty sure I have the right answer, but before I finalize it, I want to plug that r equals 72 in and check it. Is 72 divided by 8 equal to 9? Yes, it is. So I know I'm done. All right, for letter C, we have negative 11 plus k equals 7. So I want to get k by itself over here. So I have to look at what's being done to k. Well, we have negative 11 being added to k. So to undo that negative 11, I'm going to add 11. Because the opposite of negative 11 is positive 11. The opposite of 11 anchors is 11 floats. So my property of equality tells me that I can add 11 to both sides, and it won't change the value of my equation. So my negative 11 and my positive 11 cancel out. So on this side, I'm just left with a k equals. And then 7 plus 11 equals 18. So I'm fairly confident that I have the right answer, but before I finalize it, I'm going to plug k equals 18 in. I'm going to substitute that in for k. So I'm going to check negative 11 plus 18. I'm going to do that on my calculator, and it does indeed equal 7. So I know I got it right. All right, letter D. This is a two-step equation. This is the most common mistake problem on the whole study guide and test. So follow along carefully. For 7D, we have 2 times h minus 12 equals 36. So there are two things happening to my variable here. H is being multiplied by 2, and 12 is being subtracted from it. So we are going to undo what's happening to the variable. Now we know that we need to use our gems, but instead of going from the top to the bottom, we actually need to go from the bottom to the top when we solve for our variable. So we're going to start by undoing that subtraction. So the opposite of subtracting 12 is adding 12. So I'm going to add 12 to both sides. I'm bad at drawing twos with this. So negative 12 and positive 12 will cancel out. So what I'm left with on this side is my 2h. So I have 2h equals 36 plus 12 gives me 48. Now I need to get my h by itself, so I need to undo the multiplying by 2. So to undo multiplying by 2, I'm going to divide by 2. They're inverse operations. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So 2 divided by 2 will just give me 1h, and 48 divided by 2 will give me 24. So I get h equals 24. Now before I finalize that answer, I'm going to plug my h equals 24 back in and check. Does 2 times 24 minus 12 give me 48? Well, we have to do our order of operations. 2 times 24 would give me 48 minus 12. Bad at drawing minus signs too. 48 minus 12 is 36. So it worked out. All right, we are on question number 8, which is the level 4 question for the standard. For letter A, y equals 20. For letter B, m equals 1/4. For letter C, k equals 0.8. And for letter D, I'm going to do this one because this one's a little tricky. We have g minus 4 divided by 3 equals 16. So we're going to look at our gems here. A lot of students are tempted to add 4 to both sides first, but this is actually a group, so we have like parentheses around the g minus 4. So what we're going to undo first is our division. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3. Whoop. So when we do multiply by 3 and divide by 3, those actually will cancel out, and we just have g minus 4 on this side. And then 16 times 3 will give us 48. So now we have g minus 4 equals 48. Then we need to undo that subtracting by 4 by adding 4. So minus 4 and positive 4 cancel, and we have just g equals 48 plus 4 is 52. The thing I want to emphasize the most about this test is that you should take your answers and substitute them in and check to make sure that they work. You actually are capable of knowing if you got the question right before your teacher even corrects your test by using substitution and checking your answers.